So before we officially get started, if any of you are here for the public comment section of our meeting, we have a sign-up sheet. So please put your name on the sign-up sheet if you'd like to give a public comment, because once we do the roll call, we will not be accepting any more names on the list.
It'll be super brief.
The agenda.
Reports, put them on your reports.
Okay. Hello and welcome to the June 12th meeting of the MSAD 75 Board of Directors meeting. We'll now come to order and we will have roll call.
Sure. William Beatty, absent. Andy Began,
Present.
Jessica Damon,
Present.
Tony Goncalves, absent. Gregory Greenleaf, Hudson Hayward,
Present.
Mary Hobson,
Here.
Haley Coulis,
Here.
Ryan Larson,
Here.
Jim Moulton,
Present.
Amy Spelke,
Here.
Frank Wright,
Present.
Kim Pacelli,
No.
and Holly Kavanaugh are absent.
Okay, thank you. If you'll join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first is adjustments, and I do want to make one adjustment to the agenda. Item 13.3, the strategic plan. I'm really looking forward to discussing it and voting on it, but since there was a delay and we only got those out today, I'd like to wait, give everybody 2 more weeks to read it. There's a lot of words. There's some paper copies were passed around. You got electronic copies, but if anyone needs anything between now and 2 weeks, let me know. And with that, I would look for a motion to accept the adjustment.
So moved.
Hold on, Jessica.
Is now the time to ask if something in the consent agenda that I noticed?
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
So the minutes for 5/22, the regular board meeting, item 13.1 BDFA was actually not a unanimous vote. It's listed as such. There was 1 no vote.
Okay, so this is item 5.1.1
Uh,
we're
there-
talking about?
It's 5.1.1
Okay,
and then 13.1
so,
in the minutes.
We'll get
Right,
that note when
you
we get
want-
there.
so we'll take 5.1.1 out of the consent agenda and we will go over your note when
Very good,
we
thanks.
get through the consent agenda. So,
I move to accept the adjustments as described.
moved and seconded. Any other comments? All those in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you. Now it's public comment. Would you mind getting the list, Andy?
Uh-oh,
Just me.
breaking the rules.
Yes. I think I'm going to just do it after the consent agenda as its own line item.
Are we done with the consent agenda?
We haven't gotten to it.
Gotcha.
Okay, let's see. We have 1 name on the list. Chris Hoffman. Don't forget to say the town you're from.
Okay. Chris Hoffman, I'm the principal at Manor High School. I live in Brunswick. But I know I saw many of you at the CIA committee meeting that started with 5. In between, I rushed out to catch the end of our baseball team's game. Just wanted to update the board since I know you guys are doing the work, so you can't go to those fun events. But thrilling comeback victory, 4-3 for the baseball team, continues on in the playoffs. Congratulations to them.
Thank you. That concludes the public comments. Next, the consent agenda. Do we have a motion on the consent agenda?
Move to accept, to approve the consent agenda.
That was moved and seconded. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Now we will take up item 5.1.1 to consider action relative to the accepting as printed the minutes of the May 22nd, 2025 regular board meeting.
So moved?
Moved and seconded by Mary. And do we have any comments? Yes. Jessica.
Yes, again, this is the section. So if you look in new business 13.1 to consider a first reading of proposed new policy BDFA abstentions, there is a note that said it was voted unanimously. That is incorrect. There was one no vote.
Okay. All right. I'm checking with our secretary if she needs any more information. Okay. With that amendment, do can we vote?
I think we usually just vote and we
Okay.
say what the changes will be.
So we'll vote with that, with a change to item 13.2, 13.1. All those in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you.
And then originally Hudson and then Mary voted.
Yep.
Moved and then.
Yep. Okay. So now we come to item 6, recognitions and acknowledgements. And item 6.1 is, I'm glad there are so many of you here for item 6.1. We don't usually have such an audience. But we'd like to recognize that Courtney Reichert was the recipient of the Phoebe and Zephanian Swift-Moore Teaching Award awarded by Amherst College. And Amherst College awards this to 3 outstanding secondary school teachers who challenged and inspired and moved members of the graduating class. And Courtney was nominated by someone named Cora Spelke, who was in the class of 2021. And so we move on to more recognitions of retiring staff, and I'm going to turn the ceremonies over to Heidi.
Absolutely. I'd like to invite Mr. Diedick to the podium. And your first one is Lana. Yep.
Just like I said. 6.3, we had to like that.
You have to forgive me. I've made a lot of speeches today. It was our 5th grade celebration, and so I'm definitely going to stick to my notes, especially because I think there's plenty of people who can fact check me here tonight in case I get any of the details wrong. So I'm going to make sure I stick to it. But it is really genuinely my sincere pleasure and also a little heart-wrenching to honor Lana Anagnostis's time in MSAD 75 and specifically at Woodside School. But I'm going to do my best here, and it's going to be a little different than ones I've done in the past, so bear with me. Lana Anagnostis was hired in May of 1988 by Woodside's first principal, the great Brenda Brown. So for you math people out there, that was 37 years ago in MSAD 75, plus one more in a certain town across the river, which we really don't need to mention. Lana's is the longest serving Woodside teacher, having helped open the school doors for our first students. She'll be the last of the Woodside staff who can lay that claim. So if you'll indulge me, this different kind of speech for this different type of retirement for our school and school system deserves a little extra. I asked Lana a few questions a few months ago. They were simple questions, but I think the answers reveal a little bit about who she is, the legacy she leaves, and the heart she brought to every single day. So here's my version of Lana's story, but really in her own words. So my first question to Lana was, Lana, what is your favorite color? And her answer is, my favorite color is red. And she said that in all capitals. If you know Lana, this is true. And anyone who knows that, it shouldn't come as a surprise. It's the color of passion. It's the color of dedication. It's the color of courage and strength, energy, vitality, love, and care. And red is the color of the heart. And Lana brought that and all of that into her work every day at Woodside School. My second question to Lana was, Lana, when you picture the heart of your teaching experience, please let me know a moment or two that filled your cup. What do you remember? She writes, one of the reasons that I love teaching first graders is because for many years, first grade was about teaching them to read. When January rolls around, those students who couldn't read or thought they couldn't all of a sudden became readers. It is one of the best feelings to see the joy in their eyes as they see themselves as readers. Now, many come to first grade already reading. Thank you, kindergarten. But the same feeling is there when they learn to do something hard. To see and to feel the joy is something that I will carry with me for the rest of my life. Question number 3. Lana, are there any small gifts, notes, or gestures from students over the years that have stuck with you in a meaningful way? She writes, as I was cleaning out the many, okay, emphasis on many was my own, but the very many years of notes and cards, it's hard to pinpoint any that mean more than the others. But I think the heartfelt notes from parents over the years have meant the most. I had one family who didn't trust the school for a lot of reasons. Their daughter had a very difficult kindergarten year and I asked to have her in first grade. She crawled right into my heart, and I wanted to make a change for her and her family. At the end of the year, we walked to the Dairy Queen, and both her parents came with us. Her dad brought a wagon, and some of the students rode in it. They laughed and enjoyed themselves as much as the other kids. They gave me her first grade picture as a gift, something small, but they wrote on the back, and I quote, "You gave us a happy year. Our daughter grew heaps and bounds, educationally and spiritually. She was a happy girl this year." And Lana writes, that note is worth its weight in gold. My next question to Lana was, what objects, images, or even classroom moments do you associate with the feeling of being a teacher? She writes, one image that stands out is a student named Sam Wright. I was told I was getting Sam because his mom, Candy, needed to trust the school, and then I could help build that trust. It was a hard year, with parent meetings every 6 weeks. One day, during art class, I was working in my room when Sam showed up at my door with all his art supplies. He said, the girls were teasing me, and I don't like it. A few minutes later, the art teacher, Brian, showed up. He said, I knew I'd find him here. I asked him, this is Lana saying, I asked him, how did you know? Brian said, because he'd go where he feels safe, and he trusts you. A year later, I got a note from Candy. We were talking about you at dinner. You are the perfect blend of caring and structure. We wish we could have clone you for every year to come. And later during Teacher Appreciation Week, she sent a quote, everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. Thank you for watching my fish to swim and wanting my fish to swim and not to climb. The 5th question I asked Lana was, what is something that you hope every child who passed through Woodside with you remembers about their time here? And she writes, I hope that they all know they can do hard things and that I am always right by their side, believing in them and cheering them on. The last question was, if you had to choose a symbol that represents your journey as an educator, what would it be? And she just simply put in a picture of an emoji heart in bright red, of course. And Lana is the heart of Woodside. So in closing, thank you for your wisdom, Lana, your warmth and your way of seeing every child, not just as they are, but who they might become. You leave behind not just lessons taught, but many lives changed. We will miss you, but your heart will always remain in every hallway, every story time, and every child who now believes they can do hard things. And why is that? Because I know that you believed in them first. And because we really can't imagine the hallway that Mrs. A called home for 30 plus years, we had a gift donated by one of our staff members, which is going to be installed in the head of the first grade hallway, which will be forever named the Mrs. A hall. So, commented with the color red, favorite color. Right, guys? And it was done by Rose Nelson, who is one of our paraprofessionals at Woodside. And it came from an initial idea actually from Shannon Fitzpatrick, who's on the agenda tonight. So I hope she gets packed. Anna, thank you so much. And everyone can give her a round of applause.
and I'm not sure how to say your last name, so, and she will be speaking about Marlene Oliver.
So Marlene has been a good friend for more years than we care to remember. She's retiring from her position as a paraprofessional. We met many years ago when our children were attending Williams Cone, and we were both active with the PTO group there. Marlene volunteered at Williams Cone for 8 years, and I know she loved helping the students and also the teachers and staff. So it didn't surprise me that when she decided to re-enter the workforce, she dove right into working for SAD 75. Her first job was at Bodenham Community School. From there, she moved on to Mount Ararat Middle School, then to Williams Cone, and presently at Woodside. I know Marlene is a caring and compassionate, positive person who has a special heart for students and helping them learn and grow. I also know that once retired, she will enjoy no longer awakening to an alarm clock and will be free to travel to her heart's content in warmer climates than Maine.
Thank you, Ruth. So much.
Can I just want to say something about Marlene because I worked with Marlene too in the middle school, and she was always such a joy to run into in the hallway. And she was working in a community-based program with kids, and she would introduce kids and just really be such a force for her students. And it was always such a pleasure to see her in that hallway. So I really, really enjoyed working with you, Marlene, as well. So, but I'm going to have a lot of fun meeting you somewhere for a retiree breakfast.
Yes. Rick, did you want to come up?
So I'll try to summarize just some of the bits maybe that didn't get shared. So after 18 and a half years of service, Marlene is retiring. She's leaving behind a long legacy across multiple schools, and part of that is her unwavering commitment to all of our students. She began working, as I understand it, on December 1st, 2006 in a part-time role before quickly transitioning to full-time. And I learned a little bit about the story of this. So she shared with me that she was a volunteer at the Williams Cone School and not looking for a job, but former principal Otis Thompson came up to her one day and said, "Marlene, I just got back from a principal's council and a student is starting at Bodenham Community on Monday. Would you be able to start tutoring her one-to-one for a few hours each day?" And that student ended up being your first job. So she worked with that student, and then before you know it, Principal Diane Stahl found the funding to extend the hours, and by the following September, Marlene officially joined the school district as a full-time staff. She told me it was only then that I had my fingerprints taken and employment papers, written, and all of the things that usually have to happen ahead of time in this day and age. But thank you for following through with those things. So we're extremely happy that she did take on that role because ultimately my experience with Marlene is just characterized by her kindness and her caring. Marlene has been a considerate and unflappable staff member at Woodside. She always supports children with a heart of gold. In her final year, her generous spirit continued to shine as we regularly stepped in to ask her to support students across the building, not just in the room where she was kind of stationed, often shifting from her official duties to help us with substitute coverage when it was needed. And her flexibility, her reliability have made her a real difference maker in the lives of both students and colleagues. So for her kindness, her commitment, her quiet strength for her 2 decades of service, almost 2 decades of service, I know I myself am forever grateful. So thank you, Marlene.
Good evening. My name is Courtney Reichert, and I am a math teacher here at Mount Ararat High School. Carmen Palmer, who I'll be talking about tonight, started working at Mount Ararat High School in 1990 after teaching for 6 years at Lewiston High School. During her 35-year career in the MSAD 75 school system, she has served as a math teacher, math team coach, certification co-chair, in addition to participating on a wide variety of committees for both the high school and the district as a whole. I was fortunate enough to have Carmen as my pre-calculus teacher when I was a student here at MTA. She was one of my standout favorites for her ability to weave humor and fun into a challenging and rigorous course. I actually wrote my college essay about her and her influence on me. Before I graduated, she told me that she hoped I would come back to teach at MTA and follow in her footsteps. If you know what's good for you, you listen to Carmen Palmer. So I ended up doing just that, not only striving to be as influential as a teacher as she was to me, but also by sharing the roles of math team coach and certification council chair. My roles in the district have mimicked hers, partly because I've never been able to say no to Carmen. How could I? She is the type of person who always says yes and has helped our school and district in countless ways because of it. I absolutely love spending my workday with her. There's never a dull moment, and she makes even the most mundane tasks into an opportunity to laugh. Sorry. She has been a wonderful mentor to many teachers in our department, including me, and we will all try our best to fill in at least a small part of the huge hole that she is leaving behind. Ooh. Carmen is known for her dedication, collegiality, sense of humor, and drive to do what's best for the students of this district. As a former student, longtime colleague, and friend, I'm confidently able to say that our school and district is losing one of its best.
While Heidi, while Heidi brings that over, I just wanted to say that I had the pleasure of serving on the math team with Courtney and Dr. Hoffman. And Carmen Palmer was amazing then. I also had her for pre-calc, and it was a fantastic math class, and I'll never forget the 4 years that she helped me learn lots and lots of math facts.
Okay. I am also going to speak about Lisa Walker, who's another one of my wonderful math colleagues. I'm losing two of my very close colleagues and friends this year, so it's hard. Lisa Walker couldn't be here with us tonight. It's her anniversary, so she's out spending that with her husband. She has been teaching for 41 years, 16 of which were spent in New Mexico and New Jersey, and the last 25 have been here in MSAD 75. Her patience, guidance, and ability to make even the most complex topics feel manageable have made a lasting impression on the thousands of students that have passed through her doorway. In addition to the connections she forged with her students, our school and district is grateful for her collaborative, calm, and steadfast leadership of the Mount Ararat Math Department for the past 19 years. During my first year's teaching, Lisa and I shared a classroom in one of the portable trailers outside the old high school, and she took me under her wing. She took on the role of my mentor in addition to her many other responsibilities. I could not have asked for a better roommate and supporter. She has continued to be an invaluable sounding board for me and countless others, as no matter how busy she is, she always makes the time to support her colleagues and students with patience, care, and understanding. I feel fortunate to call Lisa a friend in addition to an amazing colleague, and we will miss her greatly.
Amanda? Mr. Keith? Or you just Amanda? Okay.
All right. Hi, I am here to introduce Dawn Marie Powers.
I first met Dawn Marie, or Miss Mitchell, as she was back then in 1991 when I was a fourth grader at Bowdoin Central School. When I first joined instrumental music, yeah, I joined because my friends joined. And I was never an excellent musician. Practicing was not a strength of mine, but Miss Mitchell was always patient. And I look back on those 3 years fondly because Bowdoin Central used to go to 6th grade. Fast forward to 2005, when I once again found myself at Bowdoin Central, this time as a special ed teacher. One of the first people to greet me was Mrs. Powers. She was eager to ask if I was still making music, and being welcomed by someone familiar was such a relief, although I could not call her Dawn Marie for a very long time. In my 19 years of working with Dawn Marie, my level of appreciation for her has continuously grown. Dawn Marie is not just a fabulous educator, she is a fabulous human. When I was newly single, Dawn Marie found out I wanted to take my kids camping by myself, and she told me where to go. And then she was also there when I got there camping. So the welcome committee, and since then I still have a great love of state parks. As an educator, she is one of the most enthusiastic educators that I know. Every Thursday, she is at BCS early, welcoming kids with a smile. Her love of sharing music is infectious, and it radiates from her. I don't know if any of you have ever seen her walk down the hallway, but it's even almost rhythmical and kind of like a bounce. Just walks down the hall. I think Dawn Marie is also one of the most resilient humans that I know. This was never more apparent than when we watched her navigate instrumental music in COVID, as well as when she was busy kicking cancer's butt. Dawn Marie's passion not only helped carry her through these trying times, but carried her through with grace and her amazing smile. Dawn Marie is probably the most patient educator I know. I've had the privilege to have had multiple classrooms near the music room. And let's just say that there is nothing like the sound of first-time musicians getting their feet wet. Despite the honks, squeaks, and other sounds, Dawn Marie is there with a smile and praise and excitement. And I think that kind of makes her kind of a magician, because I've gone from hearing those squawks and squeaks to then going to a concert. And in that short span of a school year, these kiddos are playing music, and it's beautiful. Hearing where the students start and then watching them perform is truly magic. And I've also had the privilege, Dawn Marie has also taught my son and my niece through high school, so I've been to many high school concerts as well, which I'll start with you, and it's amazing. She fills her students with a love of music. In her 41 years, she has helped countless community members become musicians. Our district, our community, and everyone who meets her is better for knowing her. While it is sad for us to be losing Dawn Marie, I am beyond thrilled for her. My hope is that she continues sharing music in some capacity while spending time with her husband, her daughter, her fur baby, her fur grandbaby, and most importantly, continuing to smile and laugh. We're gonna miss you. I'll be waiting for the first day camping pictures, but yeah, thank you.
I want to add my voice to those comments as someone who also started in 1991 in fourth grade band in Bodenham I still can't call you Dawn Marie, I'm sorry, it's too hard. And also my daughter, who is a fifth grader in Bodenham this year, has taken to the trombone beyond our wildest hopes. And you are so instrumental in that. And she's going to be a lifelong musician. And I thank you so much for that. And I'm so glad she got to have you as a teacher too.
Okay, we have a couple other presenters. Ryan, would you like to present? Great. Thank you.
Glad I have my progressives. I'm gonna start off script for a second. Tony McCourt, our amazing Mr. Fix-It, He comes up to me the other morning and he goes, Ryan, the battery's faulting in the clock. And I was like, there's a battery in the clock? And I went next. I was like, Tony, I don't even know how to get to the clock workings without you. And he laughed. And if you know Tony, it's the laugh that really personifies him. So I knew we were in trouble, and I knew I was in trouble. I also I am gonna miss. Who else am I gonna have to talk to at night when I'm kicking around? But now I'll get back on script. Tony McCord has been the Bowdoin Central nighttime custodian and resident Mr. Fix-It. He may have arrived at BCS when others were getting ready to go home for the day, but there isn't a person in our building who doesn't know Tony and doesn't adore him. After several years of working in other schools in the district, Tony joined our school in 2012, and he's brought humor and loud antics to our school. I think I may have lost years because of his jump scares. You two, Dawn Marie and Amanda. For those 12 years, he's kept BCS beautiful. It's almost like it's new. He is truly the master of everything. If you need to know where a part was from the first year of the school, he's got it for you. If you need to know where Dawn Marie's musical instrument parts are, he has it hidden away somewhere. Simply cleaning the building was never his only task. There were many things to adjust, tables to move, care to be had for the whole school. Working nights was ideal for him. You guys may have experienced it because he'd be blasting his country music or some other music overnight. 2-foot snowstorm overnight, he'd already be there covered in snow working through it. Tony was there for everything. We're going to miss him and the care he's given all of us, but we wish him well. We've heard that he's spending summer in his camper out in Pittsburgh, and he and his wife Joni, who's cared for children in our district, are getting ready to go to Florida for the winter. Then they will decide, and I envy their freedom to do this, what their next life adventures are. We will miss that unmistakable laugh echoing through our school, and we wish him well. Tony McCord.
Lori Payne. Lori, did you want to talk about Karen?
Was not prepared to do that. So Karen Sanders, we lovingly call her Colonel Sanders because you cannot pass that front door without her, like really getting in there, knowing who it is. She has been such a large part of Williams Cone for many, many years. I don't know the years exactly, but she always had the answers, always. Sorry, I just was not prepared. Thank you. Yeah, she's a wonderful friend to everyone. She's always had a great smile every time you walk into the office. She's going to be missed sorely. And sorry, that's all I got right now. We love her.
Dr. Hoffman, did you want to speak about Jane Kitchell?
Wish Becky were here to attest to the fact that Jane was adamant we not do this. And so we agreed upon just a few sentences. I worked hard with a student to share these sentences at graduation on Sunday. So Ms. Kitchell is retiring as a social worker from Mount Ararat High School, having spent 23 years in MSAD 75. During this time, she has worked tirelessly to provide support to students in need of a little extra guidance, social emotional support, or simply an advocate to help them navigate school and life beyond. Many students have learned strategies for success in school and life thanks to her dedicated individual work. We wish her the very best on her retirement, and she will be missed. Thank you, Jane.
Megan, are you all set or do you want, okay.
I'm going to need the mic. Michelle Aronson concludes her 29-year career as an English language arts teacher with the district. She has taught at Bowdoin Central, Woodside Elementary, and Mount Ararat Middle School. She is recognized for her commitment to fostering student voice, promoting inquiry-based learning, and mentoring fellow educators in best literacy practices. Michelle is going out on a high note. She was awarded the Maine Council for English Language Arts Teacher of Excellence Award this year at their April conference. Beloved by students for her good humor, compassion, and passion for literacy, she leaves behind a legacy of commitment to the children of our communities and a dedication to lifelong learning. A quote from Reuben Wood, current 8th grader. It feels like a day doesn't go by without my friends and I talking about how 7th grade was the best year of middle school, and Miss Aronson was a huge part of that. It's not every year that you find a teacher with that much passion for what she does. She is one of a kind and a teacher that I will never forget. The district is fortunate to have Miss Aronson still in the fold, as she will continue as the critical reading and writing instructor at Mary Meeting Adult Education. So Michelle couldn't be with us tonight. I'm very excited.
Hey,
And I just needed to say something about Michelle Aronson as well, because I worked with her, but and she is a phenomenal teacher. And I was at the graduation last night at the adult ed, and she is just an incredible inspiration. And she had her story, and all of those adult students, everyone is just so enamored by Michelle Aronson and how she is able to teach English to everybody, all walks of life. And she has such a spirited approach to it that people learn how to write, and it's amazing. So I just want to say that about her.
did I miss anybody that was supposed to speak tonight? Okay. We have, oh, Bram, yes.
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to acknowledge Karen Sanders as well. Thank you, Lori, for that tee up. That was perfect. And the years, actually, she started in 1994 at Woodside School. And then on January 3rd, 2000, she came over to Williams-Cone to the role of administrative assistant. And she retired this past January, 25 years to the day that she started, which was very significant for her. And even though I've just been at Williams-Cone this year as my first year in the district, I can tell you that the children, the parents, the teachers, and staff all appreciated everything that Mrs. Sanders did for us over many decades. She went above and beyond to make sure our days went as smoothly as possible. Her knowledge of Williams-Cone history and our students and their families and just the detailed operation of the school was really, truly exemplary. And she was really a friend figure, a mom figure to all of us, and she really kept us on track. So I wanted to share that about Karen. And tonight I'd also like to speak about Randy Muncie, who is our custodian who is retiring. He joined this district in 1984, working at Mount Ararat High School. And he's truly an unsung hero. He works hard every day to keep our students and staff safe and healthy. He goes out of his way for anything that you need. And we call him Mr. Randy. And the students really love his quiet sense of humor. He makes everyone feel welcome. And Randy, we wanted to acknowledge you for your 41 years supporting our schools. So thank you.
Okay, we have just a few other retirees that I'm going to read some things about. Robin Young sent a message about Steve Minchin, who was a bus driver, but also worked as a mechanic in the district. And she worked with him for over 30 years. When she came on as a new bus driver, Steve was, at that time, was the head mechanic. He was a dedicated, knowledgeable, hardworking, but fun mechanic. Those are good qualities for a mechanic, I guess. And then there was nothing Steve didn't know or couldn't fix. Steve did it all. Steve decided he would become a bus driver, perhaps thinking he would have a lighter workload or maybe fewer hours so he could work on his boat, camper, and perhaps some house chores in between bus runs. Well, maybe he did just a little, but with all of Steve's knowledge, and always being the go-to guy for so many years, it was hard to let go of helping people. He was still always there to lend a hand. She wishes Steve the best in his retirement and his new endeavors. We will certainly miss his laugh, his smile, and his dedication. So there's
50
Steve.
years. I want to make sure it's acknowledged he was here for 50 years.
50 years in the district, that's right. Read it, Anthony. Beverly Sawyer, Food Services. Amanda Johnson sent a little write-up about Beverly. And Amanda's our food service director, and she notes that Beverly Sawyer worked in the kitchen for many years and that she was always dependable in her role, building relationships within her school and community. Amanda notes that Beverly worked hard to implement positive changes to healthier, clean meals for the students as they were put into motion. So thank you, Beverly. Amanda Johnson also sent a message about Sherry Card, and she was one of the hardest working individuals with whom she has had the pleasure of working. Amanda feels that Sherry was always 10 steps ahead, incredibly reliable, always with a can-do attitude, creative, and quick to adjust. Amanda notes that having made such an impact in her schools for 42 years, that adults and parents who attended the community dinner last fall remembered her as their lunch lady. Some came to celebrate her retirement. Sherry has continued to live life to her fullest in retirement. She is always on the go, traveling, going out to lunch, or working with her knitting club. Congratulations, Sherry.
I just want to say, as one of the people for whom she was my lunch lady, I remember Sherry at Bodenham Community way back in the day dealing with the little milk pouches. Remember the plastic milk pouches we got for a while in the late 80s, early 90s? And back then, sixth graders got to help serve lunch if they were lucky enough. And I very clearly remember being very excited to help serve chocolate pudding to the sixth grade when I was in sixth grade back in the day. So congratulations to Mrs. Card.
Kathy Stack, also as a paraprofessional, and Chris Lajoie sent a message as well. Kathy served in MSAD 75 for over 25 years. She was a technology ed tech and later one of the inaugural Learning Commons paraprofessionals, working at Williams Cone, Bodenham Community, and Woodside Schools. A kind and dedicated educator, Kathy had a unique ability to see the great qualities in quieter, more introverted students. She enjoyed sharing books and technology tools in her Learning Commons classes, and we wish Kathy all the best in her well-deserved retirement. Yeah. Evelyn Surratt, Amanda Johnson also sent a little note about her. And she said that Evelyn made delicious homemade soups and participated in a lot of scratch cooking and samplings for her students. She was the master hugger, with students coming after lunch to give her a hug and before they went off to recess. Congratulations. Michelle, Dorothy, I think I got everybody.
Dot Bradford.
No, that was Dawn Marie. Yep. Where did I miss Dot? Oh, right here. Dot Bradford. Let's see.
I got it.
Okay, you got it. Thank you. Thank you. I got a lot.
Dot was hired as a Spanish teacher in the fall of 2012, and she worked at both Mount Ayr middle school and high schools. She enthusiastically declares that teaching children and young people is the best job she ever had, and she notes that the opportunity for daily creative and human connections is what has sustained her love for the profession. She switched from classroom Spanish teaching to multilingual children throughout the district, supporting their English language development and access to academics. And Dot will be missed by all who had the privilege of working alongside her. She's looking forward to spending more time with her daughters and grandchildren, as well as her friends and siblings, and enjoying time in the great outdoors. So that was from Peggy Callahan. I think we have one more retirement of sorts that Hudson wanted to
I just
address.
wanted to give a shout out because we missed her opportunity when she was still a student of this district, but Lydia Hiltz was with us for 2 years as our student board rep. And anyone who got to attend graduation got to hear a lot about her because she's been incredibly successful at Mount Ararat. I just wanted to,
A lot about her and a lot from her.
from her as well. She gave a very good speech. That's a good point. But I just wanted to thank her for her service to the board. In particular, her ability to disagree with her peers or with adults. And I'm always astounded by students who can do that because that's very hard. But she was willing to give unpopular opinions when she believed in them. And I think that was amazing. And I wish her the absolute best. And for everybody.
So that's it for the retirements. And I totally understand if you don't want to stay for the rest of the
They
meeting.
totally want to stay, Amy.
To get up now. What happened?
He's already going to scan and test metric. We already voted on it.
Oh, we already voted for her. She was consent agenda.
Our new music teacher.
Oh.
God, I'm going to forget her name.
You're hired.
Sarah Dow.
Yeah. She feels the same.
Oh, is that, we're gonna get it to her. Oh, Becky told me you were gonna say
Oh.
something. I'm so sorry.
You did great.
Yeah, you did great. You did great. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So our next item should be the report from the student representatives, but they are out enjoying the summer evening, I'm sure. So item 8.2, we're going to hear a report from Amy Hamilton about the Mental Health Committee and the annual report of the SBHC.
Good evening. Thanks for having me this evening. So to start, I just wanted to give sort of a high-level overview of what the Mental Health Committee was up to this past school year. We're not quite done the school year, but we're almost there. So to kick off our school year this year, the Mental Health Committee had Melissa Focusato and Jesse Chalmers from Community Health come to our first meeting and review the MIHAS data, which was really helpful with our Mental Health Committee members. We organized and promoted the educational evening with Dr. Alyssa Goodwin this past fall. Screens are everywhere. How can we set healthy boundaries when it feels like we might be the only ones fighting this uphill battle? We advocated for school counselors to begin working on the comprehensive school counseling program. This is a structured, data-driven program designed to support students' academic, career, and social-emotional development. Future work for this committee will likely be guided by the district strategic plan. The committee will review finalized strategic plan in the fall and develop goals. One big goal we have is we really want to increase involvement and participation in the mental health committee, and that has been a little bit of a struggle. So that's my high-level overview of the school year for the mental health committee. Any questions or thoughts? Okay?
Yeah, I think Holly's on that committee. Correct?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, you are.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to transition right into the school-based health center overview as well. So we had a really wonderful year. It was a slow year to start. We had a new nurse practitioner, or have one. Her name's Renee Powers. She's amazing. I think one of the things that makes her truly amazing is she's a local provider. Some of you might know her. She was with Martins Point for quite a while, and she just transitioned to Parkview. And her being a local provider who's integrated into the medical community already provides just a trust when she's known in the community. And so to have that face in our buildings was just an automatic. Kids knew her. Parents seemed to be welcoming to enroll their child because they knew her. It was just a bonus. She's been great. Our current enrollment for this year is 192. Changes this year, as you may have remembered me speaking about at the end of last year. We did reduce the nurse practitioner position from 20 hours to 8. Our real goal was to be financially sustainable long-term, and so that's going to help us do that. It was also meeting the goals or the needs of the current student population, so that worked out. And we eliminated the administrative assistant position, which definitely has been challenging. Chris Hoffman graciously shares an administrative assistant to help with school-based health center tasks when we need that, so that's been a nice collaboration. Highlights for the year, we did get online enrollment, which was super easy for families to enroll their student. It's super awesome when Kelsey Fogg, the nurse, sees a kiddo and she recognizes that, well, this isn't super awesome, but maybe they're sick enough that they might need to see a nurse practitioner and maybe need a medication. And they can literally call the parent, talk about the nurse practitioner, what she can offer, and the parent can enroll that student within minutes. And then our nurse practitioner, if it's a day she's in Tuesdays and Wednesday mornings, can see that student. It's been really seamless, and Kelsey and Renee work really well together. We're working towards an online scheduling option to be helpful for families and students. And Renee and Kelsey staffed an information table at Parent U, which was educating incoming freshman parents about the health center. So that's something we did this year too. So I'm really just hearing a commitment from our staff to just be involved, be present, make their faces known in the school. It's really nice. We also, as a school-based health center, supported that educational evening where Dr. Alyssa Goodwin came. And we did a nice collaboration with a company called Catalyst for Change. A gentleman named Kyle Posner, I don't know how to say his last name, but was amazing. And his company's out of Biddeford. He presented to the MTA student body on May 13th. His focus is on mental health awareness and suicide prevention education. And some of his quotes are, "It's okay to not be okay. Keep doing what you're doing and be yourself." And we were really excited to have him. He's a young man who's just, I think the students could really relate to him and they really liked him. And I wasn't able to attend myself. I was caught up in another meeting. But when he was done presenting, I heard that 2 handfuls of students, let's say, waited for him afterwards to speak with him. So we were really lucky to have him. And we're also going to do or offer sports physicals this summer, one day, August 13th. So any kiddo that either at last minute decided they want to play a fall sport or couldn't get into their nurse practitioner or primary care physician, we're going to have that day. It's free. They just have to be enrolled in the school-based health center. But we just want to make activities at the high school accessible to students. So that's a little overview of the school-based health center. Any thoughts or questions? Yes.
So it sounds like the 8-hour nurse practitioner was really successful for the students. And I just want to make sure it was a successful arrangement for the nurse practitioner as well. Like she didn't feel like that was a burden for her to make those hours work?
She's making it work. Even when she transitioned to her Parkview job, she worked her schedule around her time at the school-based health center. Like she's really committed and she's awesome. I really adore her. She's great.
Please,
And the
please
kids like her. The kids like come to see her just as a relationship. Like it's nice.
express my gratitude to her for that dedication and making that work, please.
Thank you. I'll share that with her. Yes.
I don't know if you, I guess I'd ask if you've been in conversation with Chris or as the cell phone ban moves forward. One of the things we heard when we visited Morris High School is with their ban going into place, visits to the nurses went up significantly because the students were no longer simply calling themselves out, bringing in a chopper to take them away. So have you been part of that? Has that been a conversation you've been involved in?
Yeah, Chris did share that with me, which was really helpful. And Kelsey Fogg, our school nurse, is aware of that. So we know that could be on the horizon, meaning that increase in student visits to the nurse and potentially the school-based health center. So we could see that trickle right in, and parents might be willing to enroll their student if they hadn't made that choice before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm confident there will be deep conversations around that policy. So you're being part of it to see it, the positive component, to have that direct communication instead of a quick bail,
Absolutely.
which could result in a lost day of learning. So great to
Absolutely.
have you deeply involved in that. See it as an opportunity. Thanks.
Thank you. Chris keeps me in the loop on all sorts of stuff, so it's really helpful. Go ahead.
Catch me up if you can. I think
Sure.
I remember you said working towards self-sufficiency for funding. Is it funded by Maine Health?
It's funded by two different grants. It's funded by the United Way grant, and it's funded by the Department of Health and Human Services. Has a grant that provides the largest portion of that budget.
Okay. And is there a connection to Maine Health? It's sort of hearsay. I just don't know.
Remind me, because I'm sort of drawing a blank at the moment. Does Maine Health oversee Midcoast at this point?
Yes, they
Okay.
own Midcoast
So
now.
I would say the connection there is they're on our advisory board. We have a school-based health center advisory board, and we have membership from Midcoast on that committee, so which is the Maine Health piece.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I would ask also, hearing the grant funding, looking forward, do any of the pieces happening on the federal level pose challenges specifically to any of the grants that are supporting your work?
We'll know more this summer. I was at a conference. We have quarterly meetings that we have to attend per grant requirements. And so I was at the most recent one. They thought their funding was going to be 100% safe. Then they learned that it wasn't, but they think they figured it out, is what we were told at our last meeting. We're going to be a little bit later finding out in the summer exactly the numbers and what that's going to look like. But they did this literally in the meeting. They said, we think we've got it figured out. So we should be okay. But I say that delicately as you take your notes tonight, and that goes into black and white writing, that we should be okay, but we'll know more as the summer progresses.
Thanks.
You're welcome. But that was a good question because it's unknown right now with a lot of funding. Anything else I can help answer? All right, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And now 8.3, we're going to hear a report on the district safety plans from the district safety team leaders.
That's right. And so Darren is,
Are you gonna use
Ryan
the screen?
are going to, yeah.
No problem.
Check. Let's try that. Sounds really loud. Can I just talk loud? Okay. Yeah, that would be good. Thanks. That's better. So to give Darren a little bit of time, I'm going to talk about big picture overview with our safety committee. So I'll remind people that we are in year 2 of having organized district safety committee. And I do want to give a shout out to Heidi. This work is in one essence impatient and anxious work, but it's not because we're not prepared. It's not because we're not making really, really important bounds along the way, but it's impatient and it's anxious because of how important this work is. And I think just over 2 years ago now, we were in a meeting and we were talking about this, and I just felt like we're not getting anywhere. We're not getting anywhere. And it was around that same time that Heidi was coming into being our leader, and she heard that. And I am proud that we've made really big leaps and bounds. And part of that impatience was over the 2 years, there have been times where we're like, we don't feel like we're making the progress. We don't feel like we're making the progress. So we decided an important piece would be doing periodic checks of the work that we're doing, really taking a step back and saying, we are making a big difference. So I'm glad to hear that Amy was presenting before us, because I will say that that mental health piece and those relationships and those connections are probably the most important work that we can do in our district as far as safety. It's about building connection. It's about bringing people in, whether they're doing well or they're struggling, because when people feel connected to the community that they're in, when people feel supported and cared for by the community that they're in, they are more likely to make safe decisions and ask for help when they need it. So I was glad to hear that from Amy, because those relationships are a big part of the work that we're doing, as well as you'll hear from both Darren and I, is the preparedness and response for higher level safety and emergency situations. So those are kind of the two big prongs when we're working through as a district safety team. We're a really broad-based stakeholder team. We have great feedback and participation from our emergency management, from our law enforcement providers. You can see that we have 3 agencies as far as law enforcement: Cumberland County Sheriff's Department, Topsom Police Department, and Saginaw County Sheriff's Department. EMA and Phil Davis has been instrumental as we've moved forward with this work. So Darren and I figured that we would give you that step back and see the forest for the tree in front of you of what we've accomplished over this past year. So we're gonna kind of play off each other as we go through this. So I'm gonna hand it over to Darren for a minute.
Thanks. And just again, my name is Darren Sharp. I'm an assistant principal here at the high school. Some context, we meet once a month from August to June. And we meet for about an hour and 15 minutes. And the way the meetings are set up is the first thing we do is we discuss anything that has happened recently that's relevant that we need to put on the table and throw on the agenda. And then we go down the agenda looking at longer term projects as we go. So some ideas for you here. This year, a big one, all MSAD 75 students were trained in our run, hide, fight protocol. Last year, we trained staff in this. This year, we trained staff to train students in this, and then train students as well. This did look different at different grade levels, which is why we had the district safety committee kind of overseeing that process. From the training, all schools participate in some form of run, hide, fight drills throughout the school year. We've implemented strategic badges. These are badges that every staff member has. And what staff can do is if they click it 3 times, that will ping all administrators in the building to go to that location. We will get a cell phone notification, and it will take over our computer screens with the location of the building, and we'll go to it. And there's also a way for any staff member to put any school that they're in a lockdown situation if they see something concerning. So a lot of power, there's a lot of safety and power in response time, and this is a huge factor for that. Nick Riggi and his team spent a ton of time on electronic entry, and we're happy to say that that has been implemented across all schools. So we have our school badges that can get us in and out. The see something, say something tip line is something that was new this year. We showed a lot of patience. There was, not only did we have to go through a process to get on their list, but once we were accepted, I think it was about a year of backlog, not backlog, but waiting list. This is an amazing system. What happens is when we are in touch with the system, when we're on the roll, At any point in time, any student or community member can make an anonymous tip, and they actually get connected with a live trained counselor who can report the tip to the school or the district or however they want to do it. So one thing that could look like if you see some suspicious behavior, we have QR codes around the building, you could scan it, put the tip in, you'll be connected right away through text with a trained professional who can analyze the level of concern for that tip and then get it to the appropriate people. There were 62 tips made this year, and 6 of those were life safety tips, which is being able to respond to that is obviously we don't like to have life safety tips, but the idea that people are communicating about their friends or their colleagues or whatnot is a really powerful thing and shows you how powerful this can be. The schools also completed construction of safety teams and threat assessment teams at the building level. And MSAD 75 as a whole completed 38 threat assessments. So what that means is at any point someone makes a threatening statement or does a behavior that can imply a threat or is threatening. In the past, it was kind of up to whoever was working with the student that day. The level of severity of that threat was kind of up to them, regardless of the training they had. Now we have a large group of people throughout the district who have been trained in what's called the CSTAG threat assessment model. There's multiple trainings that are involved, and now a team responds to any of these threats and works with the student and the family and goes through a prescribed set of questions to determine the severity of the threat and how we should respond. It's definitely not a crystal ball. It can't predict the future, but it's one more tool that's based on data that allows us to go ahead and try to make better educated decisions and better plans for students. So it's a really powerful thing. And then the district safety committee as a whole during some of our sessions received training from Phil Davis from Stagg County EMA. He's the director. He's absolutely amazing. He comes to every one of our meetings and shares his knowledge. He gave us training in what's called NIMS roles. That's the National Incident Management System. So in those split seconds where first responders are here or getting here and the decisions need to be made, there are school-based personnel who can help make those decisions and transfer that over to first responders once they get here. So it's a pretty powerful system. I know that has been used within our school, within our district, I think once, and it came back with a really powerful and fluid response, which is great. We took part in a tabletop training session that was about a safety incident that took place. We also completed what's called an after-action review. So after we addressed a safety concern, we brought some of our safety professionals in and said, hey, here's what we did. Where can we improve? What did we do well? Those kinds of things. The members of the committee took part in multiple team reviews and safety situations that occurred. So at the beginning of every meeting, we would have conversations about the most recent events that happened. And if they rose to the level of an after-action review, then we would do that. Or things that we couldn't always agree on or really puzzled us, that's where the tabletop training session came in. We were able to support with 2 real reunification situations this year. Both of them included the middle school coming to the high school. And each time we were able, not only were we able to respond well, but we were able to improve throughout a second time some of those little things that makes it go smoother and to help make that process flow a little better. As Ryan said, the whole idea is that we focus on preparedness for what we can control here in our building with the people we have. And the way we like to phrase it is we want to move the conversation of safety in our school away as much possible from anxiety to confidence. And we know that that's a challenge in the nature of it. We also know that as we train more, as we talk about these things more, as we go through and plan more and continue to meet and strive for that high level of training, we'll continue to get in that direction. So.
So you can see all the members who regularly participate in our district safety team. It includes school leaders, as I had said, emergency management and law enforcement partners, facilities director, tech director. It is really a wide spectrum participation to make sure our schools are safe. I think probably what makes the most sense is we put a lot out there. What questions do you guys have for us?
I just want to make sure everybody knows we have 2 dogs. Two dogs on the committee.
They're the most popular members of the safety team.
When does the board get to meet any of these dogs?
Yeah.
Yeah, so just so folks know, they're both support animals. Garver is through the Thompson Police Department. Garver's handler is Officer Bell Matthew, our SRO. So he's here quite often. He's a puppy, a growing puppy, and Chaos is going through training to be a therapy dog through Sag County EMA. Chaos is with Phil. So just so folks know.
I think Jessica had a question.
The previous slide you had up, Darren, the last bullet, I don't think I heard you talk about that one. Maybe you did. Can you speak to what that is, how it's going to be implemented?
Yeah, we're very early on in this process, but we're looking at a tool, Student Risk Systematic Survey. It's really looking at, and it's partly what came out of the mental health task force, a need for systematically screening all of our students to see what kind of supports they need and what level those supports might be needed. So it's really looking at what teachers observe on external factors versus internal emotions. It's a survey that's been around for a while, but they've recently added kind of those internal behaviors to help students who may be struggling with, things like depression, feelings of isolation. So it's one of those first early warning screenings to help support students. And where we're at with it right now is, as a principals council, we've agreed to pilot it next year, twice next year, and to see kind of moving forward what we want to see from that.
Could I ask a follow-up on that?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Darren, if you want to elaborate.
I was gonna give a small example of another way we're doing this. The second bullet above, and I apologize, I did skip over both those. Thank you for letting me know. The focus on relationship and connectedness. It's looking a little different grade levels, but at the high school, we've been piloting relationship mapping now for the last 2 years. And what we do is we survey staff actually. And what we do is we go through and we ask staff, we just put a spreadsheet out there and say, hey, can you put a little dot next to any students you feel like you have a strong connection with? And what that does is we're able to go through, look at that and say, okay, I noticed that this student might be doing well, but doesn't really have a connection. How do we address that? How do we get that connection? So it's a very, very simplified form of gathering some data, but also really, really, really important information for us that we can act on and build those connections.
Thank you. And then the follow-up is, if you know, because I see it's tentative, how are you going to, you said twice a year, is it in discussion with teachers and staff? Okay, so it's not as though you're interviewing students on any kind, okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's correct. That's something that we've talked about as an entry into this. Similar to what Darren was saying with the relationship mapping, let's start with, through the teacher's eyes, what they're experiencing, seeing students exhibit. So yeah, this one that we're looking at now is not a direct student survey.
And I'm just going to follow up on one other thing. Speaking from the high school experience, around the district, we're promoting the see something, say something approach to safety. We've had 2 instances this year where teachers weren't sure, see something, say something. I'm just a little bit off, that have turned into things where we were able to step in and intervene and really help some students that could have went in a way that was the road they didn't want to go down. And I share that because as an administrator in the building, and really trying to implement that hard, and then actually having it follow through a number of times was one thing, but to see where we were able to intervene with something that was new this year, and it was very powerful. So I'm very, very proud to be rolling with that.
You mentioned with the see something, say something, and QR codes in the high school and probably in the middle school as well. As we move forward with the cell phone ban, I mean, QR codes are accessed through a phone.
Yeah.
They can be accessed through the camera on a device, but the idea is to have that direct. Yeah, just as that conversation moves forward, it could be a touch point for it.
Yeah, it's not just a QR code. They have a number of different ways they can call a phone number or go to a link on a laptop.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Great.
It's a great question.
But making clear and perhaps even modifying the
Yeah,
poster might be, but just, there are going to be lots of conversations going
Oh,
on.
absolutely. Thank you. It's a great question.
I just wanted to say how grateful I am for you guys to make this slide, because for an organization, for a committee that met 11 times throughout the school year, I understand like the organizational self-doubt about what you're accomplishing. This is a remarkable list of accomplishments. There's some significant logistical operations that are accounted for in here, on top of a lot of education and training outside of those committee meetings. So I think you guys, as the representatives tonight, and everybody who is involved in this should feel immense pride in the work that you have done and are continuing to do. Like, this is kind of an astonishing list for a year, and I'm really impressed. So thank you guys.
It's a lot of hard work that isn't always fun, but I do think we feel really rewarded when we go through it. All right.
Both for coming in. All right. Did anyone leave? Everyone's still here, right? Oh, no. Yeah. All right. Thank you, safety team, and
I'm going
we're
to
up to
talk.
Heidi's report, or are you
Yeah.
going to talk about safety?
No, I'm
More
going to
on
talk
safety.
about, I'm going to talk about the actual district safety plans, which everything that you saw up there is what now has been my job to put it into a document, which we will consider to be the comprehensive emergency operation plan. And within our policies, we have a policy called EBC, which is crisis response, which you'll see around the district. We have protocols that the high school, all of our schools use regarding bomb threats, regarding intruders, regarding fire, medical emergencies. And so what I've been working on since probably over the last year is taking all of those and then putting it into a comprehensive emergency operations plan. And that breaks it down into 4 areas. And those plans really are the procedures and what we're going to do as a district. And in the past, that booklet has been about 175 pages and not easy to find things, and multiple different copies of it. And so I've been narrowing that down. And once we have that, which I'm hoping in our July or possibly our August meeting, depending, to present that to some of you. You won't all be able to see everything because there is some confidential information in there that would really display some of our plans that we don't want everybody to be able to see, just the people that are working on that. So really what that plan is an all hazards approach to emergencies. We've outlined specific roles in there and responsibilities. Darren and Ryan talked about that, all the way from our district level safety team, which you saw who was on that, but every school has their own safety team as well. Excuse me, and what we're doing is coordinating our responses to any incident and applying those things that we've already talked about. So again, just because we have some sensitive things in there, not everybody will be able to see it. We have a couple of board members who are on the safety committee, and the board chair does sign and off on the plan or a portion of the plan. So that will come this summer, and we're supposed to do that annually. And I've sent Hudson a few new policies that we need to look at based on this. So it's really been a couple of years of trying to really clean this up and make it very efficient and useful for our teams to be able to use. So I've done that, and it's almost finished, but there are a lot of templates that were never done previously, and so I've needed to be able to pull all that together. So the things that we need to focus on this summer is really aligning all of our templates that we have in there. We need our safety committee to review that. We need board members to review it. And there's several different policies that we'll be looking at over the summer. EBCC, which is bomb threats. Not big changes to that, but just a couple of terms that are back from 2005. And then our crisis response, which I would probably still like to keep, but adding our EBCA, which is our comprehensive health and safety emergency and management plan. So it is in the works, and we do need to have it approved before the start of the school year, but I think we're on the right track for that to happen. So that's my report for that. And thank you to Darren and Ryan. Without them, we wouldn't be able to have been where we're at with this, and they've been diligent about meeting every month and talking about these things and making sure we have everything coordinated for all safety. So thank you, Darren.
Is that all, is that also your superintendent's report?
Nope,
or do
mine
you-
have a different,
Okay.
are we already to that already?
Yeah.
Jeez, wow, we're
Yeah.
fast. Okay, so just really a few things regarding my superintendent's report. As we're ready to close out the year, I wanted to just provide you a final update. Students will be leaving for summer break here on June 17th, and I think that's a half day for all students and makeup exams for the high school. Do I have that right, Darren? Makeup, okay, or Chris actually still here too. 16th, no, the 17th. Yeah, right, 17th? Oh, it's the 16th, okay. Okay, confused. 16th for all students. Yeah, well, I was talking to Phil and them last night, so that's probably what came over my mind. Okay, so the 16th is for students, and is it a half day? Let's just make sure we have that correct. Yes, okay, good to go. All right. So I think we've had a really vibrant year and productive year for our district. We've had celebrated numerous successes, from the creativity showcased in our art exhibits to thrilling victories on the field by our championship sports teams. We had a wonderful 2025 graduation ceremony, both at the high school. It was a little warm, but that's okay. And then last night at Adult Ed was phenomenal. Alan said there were about 40 students this year that were graduating. Not all participated, but it was truly remarkable and really a testament to the hard work of all of our graduating classes. Tonight, we are going to unveil our strategic plan, and that has been a 2-year project. We are so excited to be able to present that, and I think that's just I want to thank the steering committee and the focus groups who really helped to participate in that and provide insights and really help to shape the future for our students and staff. Also, I'm really happy that our budget passed. It seems like it was really quite a long, yeah. And then this week has been so much fun, just kind of watching kids outside, running around for field days and people coming back from beaches for field trips. And it's really just nice to be able to see kids outside riding bikes and building trails and just kind of moving, which is really what we like to. Then I just wanted, even though they're all gone, I just wanted to extend a heartfelt thank you and congratulations to all of our retirees, that your dedication and contributions have profoundly impacted our schools for all those years and our community. And I wish you the very best in your next chapter. And then as students and families and staff head into the summer, I extend my heartfelt wishes for a well-deserved and restful break. And may this time offer everyone the opportunity for relaxation, cherished moments together, and hopefully our weather improves for a fantastic summer. That's all.
Thank you. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you. For the board chair's report, I just want to remind everyone that we're having our workshop next week. And if you have not filled out the self-evaluation, please do that before Monday. I'll probably compile numbers on Monday, and we will talk about it on Wednesday. And that brings us to the committee reports. Looks like we only have one report, but I know it was an action-packed meeting, so looking forward to hearing the summary. Go ahead, CIA committee.
It was, we had a full slate, exciting and evidence of the district continually looking to increase the power and of learning resources and resulting in opportunities for the students. There we began with, and I'll just do a quick walk through the agenda. I don't know. And again, the power of Onboard, what it's made possible to have those direct links embedded to the resources. So for the committee specifically, and I appreciate, Amanda, your work and the contributions from the schools, bringing the materials forward, providing you with links to resources. So those are in Onboard. I don't know if other board members other than the committee had a chance to look at them, but the materials proposals from the middle school, several digital proposals, including Desmos and Polypad, are two, I guess the way to describe them, Desmos you just need to see it includes a free scientific calculator, graphing calculator, traditional calculator, as well as tools that allow the visualization of mathematics in a revolutionarily effective way. It has been around, I've been aware of it for over a decade in my professional work before. So glad to see it being codified as a resource at the middle school. Solve Me, Who Am I, and Ed Puzzle, a couple of resources that leverage technology and the devices which the kids have in their hands already with some specific curricular. In the case of Solve Me, Who Am I, to a degree, I get gamification, but purposeful, not, and I could list some other tools which purport to be gamification of learning opportunities. But you really, if you have not had a chance to look at them, the committee was given the chance to be in a deep discussion with the math lead from the middle school. The new course request for 7th grade algebra, it is, they described a situation with kids with showing strength in the area of mathematics, coming well prepared and wanting to be prepared and ready to go into Algebra 1 as an 8th grader. The concern was that they might, in a traditional 7th grade curriculum, miss some of the standards from that are specific in the 8th grade and go on into Algebra 1 and have success there, but potentially the possibility further on down the line becoming aware of missing some of the stones in the arch from the 8th grade curriculum. So that was an effort to do that. It works within the same, it's another component of the curriculum they're already using. So they know the language, they know the model, just makes sense. Moving on, next gen personal finance materials, with the move of economics into the middle school and going from a more theoretical frame to some nuts and bolts of economics, personal finance. A set of digital resources which have been vetted by the middle school. They are highly rated through, and I'm going to draw a blank, grades, videos, TV shows, movies. Help me out, Hudson, the name of it. Common Sense Media, bingo, there it is. Next gen personal finance materials, very positive. Just by note, and we will come to a vote, I'm going to suggest after my brief review, that the committee would like to recommends approval of all of these resources, and I'd suggest that we move them as a slate rather than individually, but I'll continue going on. The STEM work, this was exciting at Mount Ararat High School to see Corey Calderwood bringing forward 3 courses with one more course to follow in our next meeting that has to do with the codification, once again, of a tech team, of an opportunity for students not only to learn about how the technology works, but how do you support adults, professionals in their use of that technology in a purposeful manner. A great opportunity. And Chris spoke to it, although we're not, that as the demand for some of the technical courses offered through Region 10 cap out, get filled up. They're excited to have opportunities such as this. The 2 courses, and I'm going to reverse these. I'll start with B, which is Robotics 1, an introduction to robotics using on-site resources already. It's the growth of experience that's been going on at the high school around robotics. But again, it's some foundational, and the sense is next year, each semester, there will be a possibility for 40 kids to be involved in this Robotics 1 over so a total of 80 over the course of the year. Excited about that. Our suggestion is to approve. Robotics 2 would come the following year to grow on that robotics. Press Any Button is an innovation opportunity, a chance for kids to, in a purposeful manner, engage in a technical playground, and during that course, which will be a pass-fail course is the recommendation, 1 semester course, half credit, to experiment and to engage in discussion around how could these tools be used in the classroom. So when they go back to their classroom and those tools show up, there will be kids with that experience. Win-win for the kid and for the classroom experience. Number 5, a biology textbook, an update of a 2008 biology textbook to a current publication, cost for which not insignificant, but embedded in the established budget. In fact, with the approval of the board tonight, a desire on the part of the high school to utilize some funds that are in the budget currently for this year to do a partial order to get it moving, to make full use of the resources available. Again, to the technical component, strong digital content, online content included with links, access from any device. One question asked around what devices would be required. With the change in devices at the high school, would there be any restrictions? And no, it's all web-based resources, universally available. The recommendation from the Technology Task Force to move forward with Magic School and School AI as 2 AI walled gardens, complete sets. But as we've brought this forward, and Nick explained that in budgeting for the licenses for these, he has both been engaged with the vendors so that they understand that this is to a degree an experimental year, with an awareness that AI is being used, but this will be an opportunity to have fully, and if anybody's had a chance to look at them, if you have not, I'd encourage you to do so, but with tools specifically targeted to the way school works, that do not ask one to figure out the use, but rather to use it to adjust the lexile of a piece of text that you want the kids to gain the content from, to have the understanding of, but reading abilities may be different. And it can be adjusted up and down, not to say that it's only a case of supporting those who can't, but also to challenge those who can so that they can improve, but also to challenge those for whom that's not a challenge. the idea being that school AI would be more focused at the high school, Magic School, K-8. And the LEAD program, I don't know if everybody, those who were here, the Thompson Police Chief gave a wonderful presentation on the work that's been done. This is an effort to expand that effort. Megan reports support from the health educators at the middle school, full support for that. And just a wonderful model of the proof, the reality that it does take a community to educate a child, all hands on deck. So I would like to propose, I would move that the proposals put forward be approved by the board as a slate with full support, unanimous support from the committee.
Second.
So it was moved and seconded by Frank. Jessica?
I just have a question.
Yeah.
I don't know if you covered this just now, but I was looking at the 7th and 8th grade social studies attachment. It says that the curriculum is free, Jim. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, it is. Next Gen is free.
Okay. And I guess I just have to ask the question, if it's free, is it sort of like Google and there are ads? That's what
No.
I'm concerned about.
No.
Okay.
It's a
How-
nonprofit.
how does that work?
And
A
again-
nonprofit puts it together.
Can I?
Got it.
Well, I mean, one of the things, and again, Hudson, thank you for giving me the name. I don't know, are you aware of Common Sense Media? Have you
Yep.
spent some time?
Yep.
Common Sense Media looks closely at those things, that we are not marketing when it comes to this kind of content.
Okay, perfect. That's my
Yeah.
concern.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Or that's your question.
Looks like none. So all those in favor? That's unanimous, and thank you, Jim. That was a lot, and it was a great, thank you, Amanda. That's a lot of exciting new things for our students.
I'd also just like to add that because there are such powerful resources and tools being put in the hands, that I made the ask to each as they went to bring back the stories of impact, that there so many of these resources, just to make sure that we hear those as a committee, certainly, but as the board as well. Thanks.
Hudson?
And I was just going to add that Amanda did a really good job this year leading the technology task force that both Jim and I served on, that both helped, as you guys all know, develop the original drafts and some of the AI policy and procedure work that the policy committee took up, but also a lot of the development, the recommendations that Nick took in and helped research and find platforms to launch for the AI stuff in general. And there's more work that Amanda has teed us up to do moving forward, which is great. But it was a really successful group, and thank you, Amanda, for keeping that rolling.
Thanks. Now we'll move on to 13.1 to consider approval of proposed revisions to procedure BGR, which is the policy adoption procedure.
So moved.
Moved and seconded by Ryan.
So I just one from me tonight on behalf of the policy committee, and it's this one. So this is work that got done about a year ago, a little more than a year ago. Originally, this is not a procedure that we had prior to then, and it has served us very well. And the committee in their work this year felt there were a couple tweaks that would be appropriate as we looked at some things like, man, we got to recode this. The cross references are out of date because it references the policy we don't have anymore. Things like that, the minor things. And as so we wanted to take a look at the procedure and find some ways to give ourselves some ability to do streamlined, non-substantive things kind of quickly. There was additionally some work that the previous policy committee did that didn't make it into the final draft, which happens. And I wanted to honor the work that had been done. And I figured while we were at it, we didn't have to talk about burning CDs of the policy manual, a thing that does not exist in a practice we do not do. So that's sort of what this really accomplishes. I will say with a little bit of pride on behalf of the committee, I did send this to our legal counsel for review, and there were 0 notes given to us on this, so we are in good shape legally. So that's the long and the short of that.
I would just want to say I'm all for efficiency. So happy to see improvements there. Any other questions or concerns? No? All those in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you. 13.2, to consider action to establish an ad hoc committee on athletics pursuant to board policy BDE, board committees.
Do you want a motion?
Yeah, I think let's start with.
Yeah. I move to form an ad hoc committee on athletics.
Second.
Moved and seconded by Frank. And I put together a draft straw man discussion document just to give our conversation some form. But it's pretty short and sweet. I proposed membership on this committee to be up to 7 board members. Like all our committees, we don't need 7, but we can have up to 7. The superintendent, the athletic director, an administrator from each level. So that's, elementary, middle school, and high school. A teacher, a parent, a student, and it just occurred to me that we should probably have a coach on this committee. I proposed that at the committee's first meeting, the chair would be elected from one of the board members, and that the task of the committee would be to review all district and administrative policies and procedures on athletics and consider potential new policies and make recommendations to the board for updates or new policies and procedures. And the floor is open for discussion. Hudson.
I was just going to say that a couple points this spring as we sort of dealt with some issues around athletics. I wondered aloud, like, is there a good role for the board as we sort of come out of this and look to the future? And I think you have put together a fantastic plan for the board to have a role publicly and substantively in that regard. So thank you, Amy. This is a great idea. And I'll just throw out there, I nominate Amy to be part of this committee. So. It may not be the official nomination yet, but I intend to do it.
No, don't. Thank you. I would accept it if you, yeah. Any other comments or thoughts or questions?
Is the intent to perhaps rewrite some of our documents that we use to give to the students?
Yeah, I believe we would look at, well, we'd start with board policies. We have a few, and we know there are some model policies out there that we don't have, so consider some of those, and then move to administrative policies. For example, look at the idea of co-op teams and what processes we might want to have in place when we establish co-op teams.
Okay.
And then I think it would extend to things like contracts for coaches.
Okay. It's a better understanding, I think. Good.
Andy?
I don't know what the selection criteria is for a student. And I was thinking that, gosh, it would be nice to have like a captain or somebody who they pick them for leaders of teams.
Yeah, I was going to lean on Heidi for help with the selection of the parent and the student. I know we have other committees that have, and I think that's kind of a lottery process. The student, Heidi may have an idea, but I agree it should probably be someone who's involved with at least one sports team. Jim?
I don't know. So this is a proposed will this be a policy The language is just awkward as hell in the.
Yeah, no, that is a mistake. Athletic committee. Ad hoc athletic committee.
So this doesn't have long legs. I understand what it means, but the language, I think, is, the editor in me wants to put a comma in and rewrite this. How visible will this be?
It's, as far as, I only put it together real quickly, so we would have something to
Some-
discuss tonight as a.
Is it okay to suggest some?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what we would do with it.
I don't know that it's necessarily a document that will like exist, but Amy asked me as the policy chair just to weigh in a little bit, and what I had suggested to her is that just an idea on what the goal, an ad hoc committee has a goal, and it is dissolved when the goal is achieved, and essentially is the idea. And
Yeah.
so the former transportation ad hoc committee had a more nebulous goal that sort of dragged on, and eventually we made it a permanent committee. I wanted to sort of help give a little more structure, and I
Right,
which is what this
and
comes from.
obviously I put it together in my car for the meeting, so it was just an attempt to give us a starting point. So go ahead and
So Gregory is the active English language arts
Well done, Gregory. Well done.
Okay, so I'll let sleeping dogs lie, but just do strike, after athletics, strike the word and put a comma there. To review all district and administrative policies and procedures on athletics, comma, consider potential new policies, comma, strike the and, make recommendations to the board for new policies. It should be a bulleted list or something. If it is a set of goals, it would take me a minute to rewrite it, but that comma, consider potential new policies, period. And to review all district on athletics, comma, consider potential new policies and make recommendations to the board, period.
Okay.
New policies and procedures, comma, and make recommendations to the board.
Well, I think what that contemplates is that the middle clause, consider potential new policies, is about administrative work. And then the recommendations to the board is about board policies and procedures. So I think that's why there's that distinction. At least that's how I interpret the distinction.
Right.
So
And maybe recommendations that aren't board policies.
I'm confused.
Yeah.
Is this not just a working document? Just something
mean-
that it's not even
So
a
it doesn't
document.
matter.
It's not
Just
even
a-
a document.
It's like a handwritten,
It was just
handwritten scroll, right? Yeah.
So the sense of the meeting is Gregory's right.
I'd rather than start from zero, it was sort of like, here's.
yeah.
Respond to. I think actually, Jim, that the first meeting of this committee should write the task.
Yes, there you go.
But the gist will be something along these. Yes, that's it.
I was just going to say, although I did suggest nominating you to be on this committee, it might make sense for us to form the committee today, and we could nominate people, we could assign people to the committee at the same meeting we do all of our other committee assignments. We don't have to jump to that necessarily tonight. I was just going to suggest if people wanted to think about it before tossing their hat in the ring.
Okay, did I see a hand over here? No. Okay,
Good.
anything else? Anybody else? Okay, so I think we have a motion to form this ad hoc committee. And it will be made up of someone from these groups, or people from these groups. And I had proposed a first meeting of July 17th, just looking at Thursdays, but that doesn't have to happen then. We should probably at least have our new AD on board, which could be by then. I don't know.
Hope so.
So we have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor of forming the committee? It's unanimous, thank you. And I guess we can put, if people want to be on this committee now, we can add later people who aren't here. I would nominate Kim Shelley to be on this committee. And she's not here to defend herself,
Perfect.
but
I would second that.
We'll come back.
yeah.
So,
Okay. Then
Good.
that we will move on to, I think, our final item of the night, to consider action to appoint a board member to the hiring committee for the athletic director. Yes.
I should ask if we're taking motions first or not, but I would like to indicate that I'd be interested in participating in that.
Great.
I nominate Ryan Larson.
I second it.
Did you get that, Heidi? All right.
I did.
Frank and Jessica was enthusiastic. Second. Any comments? Yes.
Maybe me, if there are not. Was this sort of timeline we're working on already shared with you?
It's in the onboard, yeah.
Okay, so, yeah, just to speak to that as well as to what just came up in terms of like when we might have a new AD installed. Yeah, we have worked swiftly to post for the position and to attract applicants. We have a number already, and we're holding our organizational meeting of the hiring committee tomorrow afternoon at 2:30, and then conducting interviews a week from tomorrow on the 20th is our plan. To the question about when that person might start, I think it will be dependent. Jeff's resignation takes effect August 1st, and we're planning he'll be able to do the necessary work to have fall schedules set before he departs, and so that essential work will be done prior to his departure. Our hope was that we would have someone ready to start by that day, but knowing that we might be trying to hire someone who's already under contract somewhere else, they might need time to get out of that existing contract or not. That question will be entirely dependent on who the successful candidate is through this process. I think we are hopeful that we can conduct a fairly rigorous interview on Friday the 20th as a first round, and then invite the person back the next week for a second interview, and potentially have an offer prior to the next board meeting on June 26th. It's a fast timeline, but that fast timeline I think is necessary in order to try to either not have a gap or minimize the gap of time when we don't have an athletic director.
Thanks. So we have a motion, and do we have any comments? What's that? Yep. All those in favor of Ryan being on the committee? Unanimous. Thank you. Congratulations, Ryan. Yep. So we have the calendar and announcements, as you can see in the agenda, and no executive sessions tonight, so we are adjourned.